We tricked you. We're back.
Yeah, Christian's a jackass.
Yeah.
They'll be back, hopefully.
They're still on the stream.
Oh, it just doesn't tell us?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're back. I'm a dummy. I'll just own up to it right now. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
I don't know. I think you're just on autopilot, bro.
I was.
Your
honestly.
subconscious was telling you to end stream. Is there something you want to talk about, bro?
Yeah. I actually want to end my.
Holy
hopefully no one was in there.
Alcohol right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hopefully nobody heard that. Fuck it. You know? Let's not give a fuck, right?
Wow. That's such a smooth transition.
Smooth transition, baby.
Smooth criminal.
Let's light this fucking candle, baby.
Light it up, brother.
Oh, it smells so good.
It does. It smells like a shower, dude.
All right, ready? ASMR.
Ooh, woodwick. On our end, it's AMSMR.
Yeah.
But on their end, it's
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe if we had like an ASMR setup.
Yeah, we need a pop filter. That's what we need.
Oh yeah. Could you imagine? That's the next level podcast. People always talk about like, yeah, when I watch podcasts, I feel like I know the people, but then you make it ASMR or like surround sound, so they put on the headphones. It's like the 8D shit, bro.
Oh,
where it's
yeah.
like it's like you're there.
You're like you're in the experience.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I am in the Joe Rogan experience.
Yeah.
I'm a guest on the Wander podcast, the Christian Walter experience.
Christian Walter and Zach Nielsen experience.
Yeah, you.
Sorry for ending the stream. Those of you who are back, I clicked the end stream button, so I apologize. Just had deja vu, and just had deja vu saying that I just had deja vu.
Wow.
So that's pretty sick. Wow, that's crazy.
You alright?
No,
You tripping?
I'm still having deja vu of this whole conversation right now.
Well, just take a deep breath. Come back to us, you know.
I like having deja vu, honestly.
Yeah?
It's pretty sick. I like it. Topic today is how to not give a fuck. Pretty much. I've been reading this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. I definitely recommend it. Pretty much all the views.
By Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, dude, that's it just sounds like a serial killer name.
Yeah.
Mark Manson. M squared.
Mm.
Pretty great ideas in here. I'm just gonna shout it out. So I got a lot of his ideas in my notes, and I don't want to take them for my own. So that's why.
No, this is all Christian's original ideas, straight from his dome.
Yup, the dome that can't see.
Mm.
No, I like. We've been pretty open and honest about being selfish and all that stuff. So I just kind of wanted to teach people how to not give a fuck going through life.
Yeah.
I mean, what do I even have in my notes? What was the first thing that I wrote down?
Sorry, real quick. Could you imagine if we had a fish tank on set? Just a big ass fish tank?
Hanging on the wall.
Something, yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
That would be fucking
Anyway,
sick.
sorry.
What kind of fish would we have?
I don't know, some kind of sick.
Puffer fish.
You want a puffer fish? Yeah, I
why
mean, that'd
not?
be pretty cool, yeah.
So the first thing that I wrote down is who the fuck cares what anybody thinks? Really? Respect. Oh, dude, definitely. I'm almost done with it, so we'll for sure link up on that. I love it.
We got time, Cam. You want to just roll over real fast?
Yeah, we gotta have him back on. Here,
Yeah,
man.
impromptu guest.
Yeah, just come.
Let's end stream, change the title again.
He breaks through the fucking door like Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah.
No, but who fucking cares what anybody thinks? I want to talk about ego
Alright.
a little bit, just because doing a lot of reading, a lot of YouTube videos on how fragile the ego is. Like
Yeah.
you mentioned in one of our podcasts how the brain literally named itself.
Yeah.
Like our consciousness and ego is just two totally different things, you know. I was hoping you'd extend on that.
Oh, well,
But-
I mean, like, yeah, like, well, to me, when I think about ego, right, I just think about the fact that it's so influenced by, like, the social constructs we're around,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, our ego is essentially, like, it's weird because it's, like, a double-edged sword, right? Where,
Right.
like, it's there to technically protect us in the sense of, like, you know, to ward off social embarrassment and shit and make us think, like, okay, what are the consequences of this? But at the
Right.
same time, it's, like, the helicopter parent who doesn't let you, enjoy anything at the risk of embarrassment or the risk of failure, etc., right? So it's like it holds you back because it's so good at making you kind of think about the consequences of your actions, you know?
Right, definitely.
So,
A lot of people in the psychedelic world they have these ego deaths.
Yeah, where they lose their ego.
Where they lose their ego completely.
Ego death, I think, also comes from really, really deep meditation too.
It could definitely be achieved.
That's a huge thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I started, like, my awakening or whatever. Was through, like, I just started becoming one with, like, the universe, like the trees, nature, and shit like that, and then I started meditating, and just from there it was fucking bingo.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the ego, like I said, is like that double-edged sword, but I think too, like, I don't know, without ego, I wonder, like, what the negative drawbacks of that are as well, you know what I mean? Because I think the ego, like, I mean, if you're talking like Freudian, right, like you have the id, the ego, and then I think it's just you or whatever, but, yeah, nice try. But, like, the ego also is kind of part of what, like, you are as an individual, too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's both identity and, like, this sense of, like... Well, it is identity, and it's about protecting identity, whereas, like, it is, like, just impulse. But,
yeah,
anyways.
That's all, like, emotion sided, too. Like,
yeah.
I mean, emotions are literally used for us to, react in a certain way. But in all reality, like, I even wrote down, like, emotions are useless. They just help us live a little bit better, Like, that's why I think people who have, like, these ego deaths are, like, in, like, a higher state of consciousness, I guess. Just because their emotions aren't super over the top. They don't really care about anything.
Well, yeah. Like, I would say, too, though, is, like, emotions aren't, like, useless, but so much that, like, when you have this ego death, right? In my mind, I imagine it's like you're not using your ego as a filter anymore. So it's like you react emotionally, but you're reacting emotionally in a reasonable way. You're not reacting to everything as it might like threaten you or like your identity or ego, right? Like because that ego's not there, it's not serving as a way to like be hyper reactive. You know what I mean? It's like I think that's also why like people who have this ego death or people who meditate a lot or whatever like. They are more emphatic or empathetic than other people.
Right.
Because they're able to look past themselves, right? That ego isn't there, like, blinding them or, like, fogging their vision, right? They're not so focused on, like, well, how does this make me look as I'm saying this? How does it reflect on me? They're like, it doesn't matter. It's not about me. Let me just focus on this other person. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And, I think if I had to say if one rule... not even rule, but to realize how to not like, care or not give a fuck as the title of what we're talking about is, realizing and the Buddhist aspect that life is literally suffering.
Yeah.
Like hell on earth. We've talked about it in a whole last episode, but there's a story in this book about this dude in World War II. He was like, the fighting ended. Him and a couple of his buddies were in the jungle. Like guerrilla warfare shit. And Japan dropped these like little paper, like pamphlets, not pamphlets, but pieces of paper like all over the jungle. And saying like the war is over, you can come out now. Yeah. And he thought it was like a scam,
trick or something,
by America. So he just kept going. And over 30 years, the dude lived in the fucking jungle.
Oh yeah, and like people living in caves and shit, thinking the world war is still going.
Yeah, and like they would kill like civilians and shit, like just because like their mind is turning and like they gotta fucking win this war. But then he finally realized, or this dude actually, like this hippie dude, went out and found him in the jungle after nobody could find him for 30 years. He came out of hiding or whatever, and then he realized like Japan wasn't like what it used to be, like the whole social construct of like they're wearing modern clothes. Like it's been 30 years, like how Japan was very like emperor kind of ordeal.
Well, yeah, I believe they were still, if not in their like isolation, they were just coming out of their isolation. Right?
Definitely. Yeah, right. So like that whole old Eastern Asia kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean they were definitely still like dynastic in a way, and like the emperor still held a lot of power. And Japan's crazy just because of how quickly their society evolved, because they went from really, like I said, dynastic and emperor focused kind of social policies and stuff like that to, one of the most quickly developing and, socially
fast moving social constructs,
like society or whatever. Pretty nutty.
Oh,
Shit, they got They made hentai, bro. Like, come on. How do you go from being a dynastic, country or
one ruler
society,
emperor to
just
making fucking
hentai,
hentai? Have you seen that? What the guy who was in fucking Pulp Fiction? What's his name?
Which one? Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah, Sam Jackson.
Oh,
He did a
yeah.
fucking interview. He
I've
goes,
seen that
"Do you
interview.
like anime?" He goes, "Yeah, and hentai too."
Yeah. Dude, Samuel L. Jackson can do whatever he wants, though.
Oh, dead
So
ass,
it's like,
dude.
who's
It's an
gonna tell
icon.
him no?
Like, yeah, people probably started watching hentai because of him.
Yeah, it's facts, actually.
such an influencer.
Yeah.
Going back to the whole life is suffering thing, like you got to go through shit to be happy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I always struggle with that, like, idea, because, like, in Buddhism, right, like, life is suffering, and, like, being in this infinite circle of samsara, the loop, is suffering. But then at the same time, like, enjoyment in life and, like, achievement in life and the value of life comes from suffering. So it's, like, this weird, again, like, that paradox where it's, like, life is suffering, but suffering makes life, you know what I mean? So
No,
it's, like,
definitely. Definitely like that. I mean, and then the whole like putting in the work to get what you want to. Like, so many people aren't willing. Like they look at Michael Jordan or any famous actor, actress, whatever, what have you,
mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Dang, I wish I could be like them." But they won't put in the work to be like them. They'll have a crazy goal. They'll be like, "I'm gonna do this," and they tell themselves every day that they're gonna achieve it, but they don't do anything about it.
They don't make actionable plans or steps towards that goal in any way.
No, not at all. And
Yeah.
to really realize that you gotta live in the present. Like, if you're sitting down watching TV, and you're just thinking about what next show you're gonna watch, what next video you're gonna watch, instead of if you live in the present, you're like, okay, if I want to achieve my goals, I should probably go fucking do something about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, being successful, like, requires that you're really diligent and intentional with your time, right? Like, you make plans and kind of keep yourself accountable to the steps you think you need to take.
Yeah.
But then, like, you're intentional in the sense of, like, you're very conscious of where those steps are taking you.
Definitely.
And yeah, and a lot of people don't do that because, I feel I really should watch Social Dilemma so we can have a better conversation about that show in general. Because I think a lot of that is influenced by social media, right? Like, having everything at your fingertips and so much entertainment immediately is so distracting, right? And it makes it really easy to sideline, the need to be. Like, all right, bro?
No. Am I funny?
He said no.
You continue, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, having all that entertainment and just that constant 24/7 distraction, like, makes it really hard, actually, to be intentional and diligent, right? Because it's like, well, you get so much more of a dopamine hit and all that shit from being on social media than grinding it out for a day and maybe not having any results for another 2 days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think, well, maybe this whole COVID pandemic was, meant to keep people on their phones and not achieve their goals. It's definitely a fucking conspiracy that I just came up with about 2 seconds ago, but it could be true. You never know. Yeah.
Damn.
It just popped up in my head.
Bro, COVID conspiracies are nutty, though.
Oh, like, have you read them?
I mean, not all of them, but there's so many. Like, one of the ones that I think is both the craziest but also the most plausible is this idea that, like, the virus was made to, like, for population control, right? And to, like, kill off, the upper end of our population, the old folks and shit like that, to basically, like, save Social Security.
Wow.
And shit like that.
I haven't.
Because then that money's not going to get used up and it's kept around longer and shit like that.
Oh, fucking assholes, dude.
And then obviously there's that shit where it's like, well, really it was just developed so that, between the Democrats and China to fuck over Donald Trump,
yeah.
All that bullshit.
I saw one on there, or I don't know why I said on there. I don't even know where I saw it, but
yeah. Reddit or something? Probably.
Yeah. I go on Reddit a lot. Reddit's sick.
Reddit's pretty cool.
But no, the conspiracy is that, like, some big solar flare was about to hit, so they wanted everybody to stay inside so they couldn't see what was going on in space.
Yo, that's, you know what? Props to the world government for looking out.
For looking out for us and having the world.
But at the same time, actually, see what happened there is they kept us inside so that solar flare wouldn't give us mutant powers. Because if we had stayed outside for the solar event, we would have gotten mutant powers, and then they would have had like a social uprising based on.
And destroy the government.
Yeah, well, yeah, there would have been inequality between mutants and humans, and
right.
Then X-Men would have happened.
That would have been pretty sick.
Yeah, dude.
Fuck COVID.
Y'all stopped us from being mutants.
Yeah,
dude. That's
fuck
exactly
y'all,
what
dude.
happened. That's
fuck y'all.
Yeah.
There's this quote in there. This is like halfway into the book, and I took a picture of it. It's the only thing that I really wanted to kind of talk about. I don't know why I said that, but we don't always control what happens to us, but we always control how we interpret what happens to us as well as how we respond.
Facts, for sure. 100%.
We use the example of getting cut off in traffic a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you getting mad at that?
Right.
Don't give a fuck about. You're never gonna see that person again.
Right. Well, yeah, 100%. Well, that's twofold, right? We're like, not only are you ruining. I don't know. It looks like it's melting. Not only
That's a
you.
real plan.
Yeah, dude. You're ruining your day, right? Because, like you said, you choose how you react, and you choose, the mindset you're gonna have, right? Like, if you get cut off and you choose to be upset about it, right? You're just setting a negative tone for the rest of your night or whatever,
Right.
But then the other side of that too is like, you get mad at this person for cutting you off, and like that person may not have even known it, right? Like, there's no way you can guarantee that they intentionally cut you off. So like, A, why are you getting pissed off when it was an accident? But then B, right? Like, you're making an assumption based on something that wasn't even real. Yeah. You're using, again, like, and that's probably related to ego, right? Where like you took it as an affront to yourself,
like
right?
a direct insult.
And so like you were just like, oh, well, you're doing something because you're being an asshole to me. I know it's not even about you, bro. It's like it's just an accident.
Yeah, who cares? That's 30 seconds.
So then being
aware.
So being self-aware, but then also being self-centered in that sense, turns out to just be a detriment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then I also wrote down in the book it explains I forgot his name, the old drummer for the Beatles before it was like
Ringo Starr. He was a later drummer.
No, there was a drummer before Ringo Starr.
Because it was George, it was John, Paul, and Ringo.
Yeah, but they kicked the previous drummer out.
Well, I don't fucking know them.
Yeah.
He missed out on some money.
Well, that's what the book explains. Dude probably pissed. We're talking about values a little bit. Apparently the Beatles didn't like him because he was like some good-looking goody two-shoe guy. And they kicked him out, and he got super pissed. He was, the Beatles, literally, number one band ever. For decades. And he was super pissed because, they're making all this money, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he realizes, like, hey, I have, like, a nice, beautiful family that I like to spend time with, all that. And then if you look at the Beatles, like, in their end life,
one of them was assassinated.
Yup.
Paul and Ringo, I think, are the only ones who are doing very well. Paul obviously started his own band, and then he does all sorts of appearances. If it's even Paul, he might be a fake Paul, bro. Ringo is kind of the same thing. He doesn't have his own band, but he does like appearances. And then George is dead. I don't remember how he died though.
Well, they're all caught up in the whole money thing. Their lives were just meaningless. That's what I hate. I hate money. Like, people are always chasing the money when, you have all this money, you've done all this shit. Like, it's like when you mentioned the perfect heaven when you die.
Yeah.
Like, you have all this shit, but, like, it's just gonna get old. Like, that's not happiness,
Yeah, and it's I think it's really easy to not have money and talk about, like, well, I just need X amount and I'm totally cool. You know what I mean? Or, like, if I had that much money, like, I wouldn't be so caught up in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's definitely bias there. But at the same time, it's, like, again, like, self-awareness. You should just be able to, like, successful or not, right? Just enjoy what you have. Because in the end, comparison is just, like, your greatest weakness, right?
That's
like,
your ego.
Comparing yourself to others is just going to create turmoil in your own life,
And that's the whole social media thing, too. Is, like, there's so much, what's the word for it? comparison
Yeah,
to like
in competition.
yeah, like
right?
these Instagram models are using Photoshop, filters, shit like that to
Yeah.
post like their bodies and make money off of it. And you have, just regular girls that are seeing that and they're like,
Like not
why?
good enough or something.
yeah, why am I not good enough? Why don't I have a body like that? Why don't I look like that? Like, fucking chill out.
Yeah. Which that kind of a thing, right? Like, I mean, that in all aspects, right, has spawned a lot of movements for like, appreciating body types and shit like that, but also to kind of show more transparency. So like a lot of, from what I've seen, right, a lot of women who are models or Instagram models or whatever, they'll do like obviously their shoots, and then they'll also do like basically reality versus expectations,
Yeah.
right, or expectations versus reality. Where they'll post a photo shoot and then like their actual body, right, and like it shows like they're sucking the gut in, they edited this, they're standing a specific way to make their butt look bigger, or etc. Right, it's like that's a cool kind of consequence of that whole thing, right? Like in a lot of different senses, either modeling or photography in general. Like if you look at photography, right, like photography as an art is dishonest, right, because it's just like. Me as a viewer, I can never look at a photo, a video, whatever, and 100% trust it without also thinking, right, well, how did they edit this? How did they frame this shot to make me feel a certain way? How did they, what have they excluded, from this one little image? You know what I mean?
I hate pictures,
You
dude.
know?
I absolutely hate photos. Like,
yeah, I think they're sick, but it's just like
well,
you can't be a blind observer, or like you can't blindly consume that media. You have to understand, like, well, I'm looking at this, and like, sure, like, fuck, you're on Twitter, you see a cool picture, like, oh, hey, that looks
That's
cool,
sick, yeah,
hey, like, oh, that's a cool picture, right? But then, like, if they're also posting a message of like, life isn't all, don't be so serious about life,
Right.
I appreciate the small things, but then like, they're taking a picture of, a mountain, but then it's like, okay, but you also failed to include the helicopter and whatever that got you there. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's easy to be, carefree when you're in a good position, right? So it's like there's context that can't be forgotten in terms of that kind of media.
Right. No, I get that for sure. I kind of wanted to talk about victimhood.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I'm down for that. What kind of victimhood? We're gonna get a little controversial here, bro.
Big time.
Yeah.
Dude, the one thing to realize is your problems don't fucking matter. Like you just spill it all over yourself.
Got a hole in my lip.
Don't worry, I got you.
Thanks,
I'll
dude.
wipe it off.
That really helps. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Your problems don't matter. They really don't. Like if you look at it, like stop being the victim. You're literally playing yourself out to be the victim, and that's your ego playing right there.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're looking for instances to be a victim, right? If you're like always in that mindset of like, oh, woe is me, like I'm just, everything's always against me in life, and like, because something actually, Katie and I went over to her mentor's house a while ago, Dr. Oyenlade.
Oyenlade.
Yeah, Oyenlade. Olu Oyenlade. He'll never watch this. He doesn't even know it exists. But he's a sociology professor at UNO, so he talks a lot about social constructs and shit like that. And one of the things we were talking about was like this idea of victimhood. And when you deliberately make yourself a victim, right? Either the victim of somebody else's actions or the victim of some sort of social standard or whatever, like you're denying yourself any agency in your life by saying, like, basically you're giving up the fact that you could have had a choice or some sort of action, right? If you're like, well, the only reason I'm here is because so and so made whatever. I don't have an exact example, but stay with me. So by making yourself a victim, right, by just delegating yourself as a victim and giving somebody power over you, right, without ever trying to figure out where you could have made a change or what you could have done to not be a victim, right, or recognizing your position as not being one of a victim but one of something else, right? If you fail to do those things, you're just like you're solidifying that person or thing or structure or whatever, that power that it has over you.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So it's like
that bad juju.
yeah. So like it may make you feel better to be like, well, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
Right?
You get that short term high.
Right.
You know?
It might feel better, like it's not my fault. I didn't have anything I could do. Well, all you're doing is denying the fact that you had a choice or some sort of potential effect on the situation, and instead just making whatever caused that to happen to you to have greater power over you, right?
No, it doesn't.
So it creates this mindset of like, well, I'll never beat that. I'll never be more than that, or whatever. It goes in so many. It can be racial. It can be economic. It can be class in general. It can be. There's so many things that relates to for all people. That's just like if you just recognize that, like, like you said, if you just give up that ego and like I'm not a victim, right? Maybe I messed up, right? At the very least, saying I messed up, at least still make sure that power remains in your hands, right? You're not saying that somebody else caused this to happen to you or did this to you. You're saying that I messed up, right? I made the wrong decision, but at the very least, you did make a decision, right? You weren't just a standby or a side character in your own story, right? You know what I mean?
I love
You're
that.
not just an NPC.
I
People.
love that
That's kind of
sentiment,
the popular analogy these days, right? To be like, it's your story, you're living in it,
Yeah.
right? Or we're all living in your story, or
Yeah.
be the main character of your story, etc.
I always like to bring up Lil Uzi Vert. This is my world, so it's all in my favor.
Yeah.
Lil Uzi. No, that's exactly like I wrote down blame your fucking self,
Yeah.
like you have to take some responsibility. I mean, obviously if it's like a physical kind of like, let's say you broke your fucking arm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I wouldn't have broke my arm if this didn't happen.
Right.
Like, dude, fucking own up to it, man.
Yeah,
like,
I was an idiot.
Yeah, dude. I've always loved this quote. My dad told me when I was like 8 years old was don't talk about it, be about it.
Mm.
That always has resonated with me just because like talking about it doesn't do shit.
Right.
You gotta be about your business. You gotta go do that shit.
Yeah.
But no, man. It's
and I kind of want to add on to that, like, this idea of, like, because you said when you're 8, right, your dad was telling you, like, don't just talk about it, be about it. Well, this idea of, like, this mentality of victimhood kind of relating to being really young, like, that makes me think of all the times when I was younger, right, with Logan, and, like, he'd get pissed off and, like, get yelled at, right? He'd be yelling and screaming because he's pissed off at me, right? And then mom would be like, Logan, stop yelling, like, whatever. And he said, well, Zach made me do it. It's like, no, I didn't make you do shit.
Yeah.
You, as an individual, chose to be pissed off about it, right? And it's like it's a childish mindset to think that somebody else was causing you to get in trouble when really it was your actions that caused it.
Right.
Right? So, like, to delegate your position to somebody else's power is just limiting you as an individual. And then, like I said, it relates back to, like, stop just talking about what's happening to you and just be about what's happening to you.
Definitely. And it's like, you're not the only one in the entire world to have that problem.
Right.
Like, you can't... I'm the only one who has ever had this happen to me. Life sucks. I hate my life. This is never going to get any better.
Right.
Okay, yeah, if you say that, it's not going to get fucking better, so keep saying it, and we'll see what fucking happens.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's important to place your issues in context. Because, like, there's that really fine line between, like, never acknowledging that you are in a time of struggle and then also acknowledging that other people are struggling worse than you, right?
Yeah.
It's just placing yourself in context and just recognizing, like, okay, yeah, this sucks, but what can I do about it?
Don't put yourself on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the victimhood sense.
Yeah, well, don't put yourself on a pedestal, but also don't put yourself, like, in the dirt either.
Exactly,
You know what I mean? Just
right.
be...
The middle path.
Just be about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, just be about it.
Yeah, dude. It's also kind of like, what is it? People who are... Oh my god, I just want to tip my tongue. Very, they grew up very... Privileged. There we go.
Yeah.
People that are privileged, I think that's the worst. Because it's either, I suck and the rest of you are awesome, or I'm awesome and the rest of you suck.
Yeah.
And it is two different... People who are privileged feel either one of those. It could be any day of the week. They never just feel okay.
Right.
Because they're always saying... Oh, I'm the best in the fucking world. I'm so sexy. I get all the girls. Or, oh, I'm fucking ugly. Like, I don't get any girls. Stuff like that. You know? Like, the middle path blossoms into everything.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, and I think privilege too, again, is like I was saying, we're at, Dr. Oyinlade's house, and we talked about privilege, and privilege is so tricky because, like, yes, there are instances in life where I, as a white man, enjoy certain benefits because of the fact I'm a white man, right? But when privilege starts to become an excuse for certain people's, like, so for example, okay, like, I, as a white man, like I said, enjoy certain privileges, right? But if a minority, whether they're black, Latin American, Hispanic, whatever, right, Asian even, right, if they start blaming the fact that I have privilege as the reason that they aren't in a specific position, all they're doing is saying that I, as a white man, have power over them,
right.
And that's what I've been trying to illustrate, right? Is like, privilege becomes so tricky because, yes, privilege exists and it is a social issue. But then on the other hand, is like, you can't blame privilege as the one source of all your problems, because all you're doing is giving that group of people greater power over your position, right? So there is that tricky line, and I guess it kind of relates to that middle path where it's like, yeah, you have to acknowledge that, yes, there are certain disadvantages and advantages to being a certain way in this world, right? That's an unfortunate reality.
It's the cards that you're dealt, though.
Right,
You know?
But then on the other hand, it's not giving those disadvantages and advantages too much power and saying, you know what, fuck it all, I'm gonna go against the odds, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Or like, you know what,
I'm the outlier.
yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly. Then that's like, you can be the outlier without being a dick about it too, right? Because like, that's again ego, right? Like, I'm the outlier, it makes you sound egotistical, but like, you can be sure of yourself without being a prick, right? You know what I mean?
Just confidence, it's
Yeah.
confidence to an extent.
Right, and again, it's so tricky because, yes, you can be confident, sure of yourself, and yes, there are elements of the way our society is built that are going to make it just harder for you, right? But again, it's like, don't make those things the one and only reason that something bad is happening. You know what I mean? It may be a combination of a lot of things, but as long as, like, say there are 3 things that are making it difficult, right? As long, like, if you can own at least 2 of those things, then not one thing has power over your position.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that applies for everybody, regardless, right? Because even though I'm, a white middle class guy, there are still certain aspects of society that challenge me, right? There are some people who are privileged over me in terms of economic status, right, social class, etc., right? But that may limit me in one way, but then other elements of my life I can own and say that, this isn't the only thing holding me back.
Right, definitely. And it's, people that are privileged don't want to be wrong. They are so privileged, to know that they have grown up a perfect life.
Right. Kind of like blinded by their...
Yeah.
They're ignorant to a lot of other things. Right?
Yeah, it's okay to be wrong. Own up to it. And that ties into the victimhood shit too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's okay. Like, own up to your shit, and then you'll be happy in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, life is suffering. Own up to it.
Yeah.
I got a text from Carter.
Yeah, what do you say? Is Nolan giving him shit? Fuck you, Nolan.
Yeah, he said...
Watch our stream and just enjoy it, okay?
Sorry for Nolan's childish comment. Always gonna support my boys with the heart.
Damn.
You see, and I read that comment, and I decided not to give a fuck about it.
Is Luke Prison in the stream? Ban Nolan for 15 seconds.
It's on Twitch. That's Twitch.
Fuck, that is Twitch. Damn it. That's the only drawback of going to YouTube.
Yeah,
Whatever.
We don't have mods.
We gotta go back to Twitch.
Yeah.
I think you can have mods on YouTube, but you probably have to
can.
be a certain level or whatever.
Well, I mean...
Aristocracy. God damn it.
I have Streamlabs fucking Prime, dude. Like, come on. $19 a month? Are you joking me? And I can't have mods?
Yeah. Well then, shit, we're on YouTube. Nolan, follow us, please.
Yeah.
Subscribe, bro.
Somebody subscribe. Please, somebody. May we have some subscribers,
Yeah, subscriptions, please. Some more?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Alan Watts?
Am I what?
Alan Watts.
Oh, Alan? Fuck yeah, dude, I heard of Alan Watts.
Okay. There's
He got
you ever
some
heard of
cool
the
shit.
backwards law?
Mm-mm.
So
I haven't spent that much time listening to him. I've only listened to a handful of stuff by him. But...
I listen to a lot of Alan Watts, Terrence McKenna, Dennis McKenna, like those kind of guys. I think they're pretty cool.
Mm.
You should definitely go check them out. I'll give them a little plug.
Yeah, well, our reach will incredibly boost their channels, bro.
Fuck, dude, we could have. This could be the episode where we get 100 million views.
Bro,
you never know.
You're right, dude.
You never know.
You're right.
But Alan Watts said the desire for more positive experience is itself a negative experience. and paradoxically, the acceptance of one's negative experience is a positive experience.
I gotta read that.
Yeah, it's a mind fuck for
Well,
sure.
like, I mean, yeah, just a lot of twisty words.
Right. We'll just do some ASMR while. Can you read my handwriting?
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think that relates right back to comparison, right?
Mhm.
If you're always trying to get more positive experiences, it's because you are looking at somebody else's positive experience and saying, I want that,
Right.
right? But if you can just accept the fact of your life, right, you're going to be in a better way, right?
No, definitely.
That's what he's saying, right? It's like, if you, instead of looking for the positive stuff and just owning the negative part that's happening right now, you're going to be happier later, instead of always being unhappy because you're never going to have what everybody else has.
It's the short term high
Yeah.
that we talked about. You know, it's like a broken marriage having a baby together. You know, like to try to save it, and it always ends up not working out.
Right.
The more you want to feel rich, the more poor and unworthy you feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The more you want to be happy and loved, the lonelier and more afraid you become.
Right.
You'll never be happy if you keep trying to find out what happiness is.
Yeah, there's this really, really, I don't remember if it's a poem or what, but it's a really beautiful poem where it basically talks about like how happiness is a butterfly, and the more you chase it and the more you try to obtain it, you just disturb it and it'll fly away. But if you just sit down and enjoy the moment, happiness will come and just rest right on your shoulder,
Yeah.
bro.
You know, you ever been to the...
Yeah, I gotta find that poem. It's a pretty good poem.
Yeah, send it to me.
Yeah, bro.
No, what was I fucking saying? The butterfly exhibit
Yeah.
at the zoo. You ever been in there?
Mm-hmm.
They ever land on you?
Occasionally.
Dude, that's my favorite. Is when
Yeah.
the butterflies like land on
You
you.
just feel touched, bro.
You just wow, butterfly. But no, I think that is kind of the key to happiness is, you know, realizing what we talked about with life is suffering. Own up to your negative experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if you don't, you're just gonna be the victim your whole life, and that's not fun. Don't be the victim.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for sure, you don't want to be the... I mean, like, again, like, yeah, you will be a victim, but it's the fact of, like, labeling yourself as a victim, right, is where the change is, right? Like, you can be a victim, but then still look for opportunities to improve your situation, or you can just accept your position and be a victim, right?
Right. So, no, you always gotta, you know, just keep chugging. Everything will work out. I like that. I like just everything working out. I look like I'm just half of a body right now when I look in the camera.
You look like you're just emerging from the void.
The void of blackness and my fucking...
And then Chieftain Nation, baby!
That actually kind of fucking hurt.
Yeah, why'd you do that?
I don't know. The water's gone.
Yeah, dude.
Because
I'm so hot.
let me see if I can just... Let's play a little game.
Alright, what game you want to
We'll
play?
just open this book,
Yeah?
and whatever it is, we'll talk about it.
Alright.
Do you want to do the honors?
Dicks.
What's on your mind?
Boundaries is what it says.
Okay.
Boundaries.
I don't know
Should I do some ASMR reading?
Yes, please do.
No, I'm not going to do that. My voice needs to warm up a little bit. No, boundaries, yeah. I don't know if you want to talk about boundaries.
What do we talk about boundaries for?
Boundaries? I mean,
Oh, how
boundaries
about
are
this? Rejection makes your life better.
Yeah,
I actually
dude.
had that in my fucking notes. Would you look at that? Thanks, universe. For that one. Like our first episode, you said something about that I'm not scared to just go out and get it. You know, like with advance, with, you know, wander, whatever I've done in the past.
Yeah, like just not fearing the failure.
Exactly. Like rejection, I love rejection, dude. It makes me want to work even harder.
I was gonna say, I think rejection is that instance where it's like, again, like you can be rejected by something, and you know, just accept, like, you know, like say, yeah, well, I was rejected, I'm a failure, looks like it's over, you know, or like you can accept that as a challenge, right, and rise to the occasion, right? I feel like that's like 80% of anime, right? They're like, no, you're not gonna be a Hokage. I'm fucking Hokage, bro. Like it just happens, you know. Like that's like 80% of any kind of superhero anime bullshit, no matter what.
I mean, because it works.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's just real, right? Like, I mean, I don't know, so many like artists and actors and like so many people's life stories where it's like they told me I wasn't gonna do it and I did it, right? And it's accepting that rejection, that denial, and saying no, you're wrong, right? I read Stephen King has like it's his autobiography / kind of like his I guess like writing tips in a way. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But he talks about how as he was writing, he took every rejection letter he got back, he would nail it right above his desk, and he had like a stack of rejection letters, and he just, every time he got it back, he'd be like, hell yeah, I'm just working, right? That's
Right.
proof of his like determination, right? To keep getting rejected, that stack just became like, this is just how hard I'm trying, right?
Definitely.
And so it's like, yeah, you can accept rejection and be like, yeah, it wasn't meant to be, whatever, fuck me, I'm done. Or you can be like, no, you're wrong, I really believe in this, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Please, if anybody has any questions, pop them in the chat. We'd love to answer them. We're always open to questions. Back on rejection, even though we were just talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the whole nailing the rejection letters, that's every, famous actor, stuff like that. So, I mean, obviously it works, like, in the sense of keep chugging along, like, or else you wouldn't have all these success stories with all these actors, like, Robert Downey Jr. was in jail, blah, blah, blah. Jim Carrey got rejected. Yeah, oh, dude, I fucking hate Jim Carrey.
Really?
Oh, the dude's an idiot.
Well, look who's successful and look who's not, bro.
I'm gonna be successful. Dude, I just hate the characters he plays. He plays the same character in every movie he does.
I mean, yeah, so does Adam Sandler, but do you hate Adam Sandler?
No, but he's funny.
So? There you go, bro. You hate them because you ain't them, bro.
I will be them.
Yeah. Well, you gonna be an actor?
Wander's gonna blow up, baby.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, this is all a sham, bro. This is just a big acting gig.
Exactly.
We're just
Any
actors.
any
We're paid
agencies?
actors, bro.
Our business email is in the bio.
Is
So
it?
no, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't think so. You just type in chat. Just hey Christian, we're looking out.
True.
But no, I mean, sick. Anything else you want to really talk about? Gonna be a short episode or?
I don't know. I'm just chilling,
Vibing?
honestly. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, shit. Okay. We talked really fast.
We did talk pretty fast. But, I mean, something I'm always drawn to talk about, too, though, is, like dreams, goals, right? I feel like we talk about, or I bring up goals and dreams all the time, right? It's like, I feel like that rejection and stuff is just, like, I don't know, you gotta learn how to be sure of yourself or, like, determined, right? Because you have a dream or a goal or, like, something you perceive to be your ideal outcome, your destiny, whatever you want to call it, that one rejection, like, isn't the end all be all. You know what I mean? Like, you may have a dream. So, for, like, I mean, the great example is, like, writers, dude. Like, people create a novel, and they send it to one publishing company, and they're like, hey, this is my idea. And that publishing company is like, nah, man, I'm not about it. Sorry. I think Harry Potter is an example of that. She sent it to her first publishing company, like, sorry, nobody's going to read this. She sent it to the second one, they're like, fuck yeah, let's get on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, if she had stopped at that one rejection, she would not have a multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Stupid
You know what I mean?
franchise.
J.K. Rowling would be nothing still. She'd be a depressed single mom scrounging for food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, that one rejection isn't the determining factor,
Right.
I think another one is The Queen's Gambit. I had read something about how... Did you watch that at all?
Was it good?
Katie liked it. She watched it.
You didn't watch it?
I watched parts of it. It looked pretty good. I would probably watch it in my own time to, like, really watch it. But it was, like, a huge hit series, right? Like, all over the place. It was viral, right?
Right.
And the guy who wrote it, apparently, and I don't know if this is true, don't quote me, but apparently the guy who wrote it had written the script and had been pitching it in Hollywood and stuff since, like, 1980.
What?
So it's like he held on to that. He believed in his idea so much that he was like, one day this is going to be huge.
And if you believe in something, I mean, shoot, just fucking go for it, man.
Yeah.
What are you gonna lose?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, so yeah, again, like that one failure, so one person telling you, nah, dude, that's never going to work, is not literally, you're just not going to work. It's just one dude being a hater.
Right.
Or like one dude just being jealous sometimes, right? Somebody trying to make you not live a dream that they are jealous of. Or like, there's so many elements to it, right? Some people have bad judgment. That one dude was like, no, Harry Potter sucks, and he missed out on billions of dollars, right?
What an idiot.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, like, bro, obviously that was a great idea.
And that ties into the whole not giving a fuck thing, too. It's like, who fucking cares what people think about you?
Right.
Or what you do?
Yeah.
Like, why are you so... I don't even know how to put it. Like so, like pushing what people think about you out there. Just
yeah,
because,
I think this is the last episode or maybe another episode where like, fuck, I just lost my brain. We were just talking about can you re-jog me? Say the last thing you were saying.
We were talking about why people care about what other people think.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So you focusing on what other people are thinking about you is really just you like anticipating. You're just anticipating the judgments that they're going to make about you, and in reality that just means you're judging yourself before you're doing anything.
Bingo.
Right? So you're just making preliminary or like preemptive judgments about yourself, and like oftentimes you might be just judging yourself and anticipating somebody's judgments that aren't even real. So you're just stopping yourself from doing something in the first place.
And it's just
yeah. So that can be a
spinning,
topic, Luke.
spinning,
But
spinning.
Cam asked about learned helplessness.
Yeah. What do you got to say?
I mean, like learned helplessness. I mean, I feel like
Do you want to explain it a little bit for our viewers and me?
he might be talking about it in a different way than I understand it. So I mean, I don't know. Like to me, learned helplessness has to do with like the classic example is like in behavior psychology, right? Where they took rats and they had how did it work? Basically, it was they had rats where they had to cross like an electrified grate to get to their food,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And rats who learned that I think it's like the timing of when the grate was electrified or not, right? They're the most successful. But then there's another group of rats where they basically were just electrified all the time, and they became super depressed and shit because they just figured like, oh, I have no way to or no, it was rats who had to learn to turn off the electricity to get their food. But then there's another group where they pressed the button, and no matter what they did, it didn't stop being electrified, and so they just became super depressed and learned that they didn't have any influence on their circumstances.
Right.
They just
Okay.
thought, well, it's electrified. I'm gonna be electrified. I'm fucked. There's nothing I can do about this.
Right.
Right, because they learned through the fact that all of their efforts resulted in nothing. Right.
Okay. No, that's actually
So the idea that like despite your best efforts, nothing changes, and so therefore you learn that you're just a victim. Right.
Okay.
Nothing you can
Yeah.
do changes your circumstances, and that's just the reality of things.
Well, you got, I mean, opinions on that is what we talked about, accepting the negative experiences. I mean,
Yeah, I
obviously
mean,
rats
that's some tricky
can't-
shit
can't
there, though,
do
right?
that.
Like imagine you are a human being in a box, right? And you push a button to stop the electricity and it doesn't get electrified. What else are you gonna do, right? How else are you gonna stop the electricity, right?
Well,
Now,
yeah.
I'm sure you could figure out something else with your human brain,
I
but
don't
the
think-
idea is that like there's as far as you can tell, there's no way that you can change your influence, the position you're in. And then that kind of like applies to a lot of social standards, right? You may live.
Yeah, give me an
in a-
example, because I don't think
Okay, I will give you an
helplessness-
example.
helplessness, can't even fucking talk.
I will give you an example of the worst position you could probably, or like a very difficult position to be in. Okay, you are a poor black man living in the ghettos, right? Okay, so you're living in the ghetto where police are more actively surveying the area, right? And typically in impoverished areas like that, gangs are higher prevalence because it provides, a chance at income, right? Because you can sell drugs. That's why selling drugs is more prevalent in the ghetto, because it's more profitable than getting a job, which getting that job would require you to take the bus every day to a job, and it's really inaccessible, right? Okay, so you are a minority who is essentially kind of forced to make your money through being in a gang because the alternative is almost impossible, or it's just not easily you can't easily make it there, right? So you live in an area where you are essentially required to be in a gang to make money and make your livelihood, but you're also in an area that's actively policed, right? So you're trying to make money to improve your situation, right? But that method requires you to actively be in the potential of being arrested, right? And so you're in this position where no matter your best efforts, you really can't do much, right? Because any effort you take to make it to a job outside of that, right? Well, now you're at the risk of being assaulted potentially, right? Mugged or whatever. It might cost you more to go to work than the money you're making at work, right? So like there's these elements in your life that really are outside of your control because of the way where you're born and where in the immediate means you have to make your life better, right? So, and then on top of that, right, like you're making money, but then you might have to support an entire family, right, who they themselves may not have the ability to work, right, or they are involved in something else, right? So it's like there's a lot of elements outside of your immediate influence that are having a greater influence on the way your life is being lived, right? And that's kind of where learned helplessness kind of comes from. So it's like there are people in that circumstance who basically determine, well, there's nothing I can do to get out of this situation, right? And that's what learned helplessness.
That's a very, very good example, actually. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so I mean that's probably the most tragic example of a learned helplessness that I can think of, and it's probably slightly inaccurate, right? Because I've never lived that, and I'm not a sociologist. So disclaimer.
Did you just come up with that on the spot?
Kind of, but that's also like from education.
Yeah,
well, and I mean I've been in sociological discussions with the professor and Katie and shit like that. So
isn't the whole wanting water to blow up caring what people think? I mean, not really. Like,
I mean, yeah. At the same time, it is though.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you want to be the outlier, right? You want to prove to people that you're made of the material, right?
Right, but I'm also like the whole point of just having fun with it. Like I just like talking about it to people because they're like, "Oh, you have a podcast? Yeah, like you should come check it out." Like I like have fun doing it. Like the main goal isn't for it to blow up. If it doesn't, I don't give a fuck. But also,
I think there's always an element of wanting people to like
exactly
be recognized, right?
Right.
But then on the flip side of that is like you care about people, like I guess be selective, right? Like care about what people think, so long as it makes you feel good, right? Like who cares if somebody's being a hater because they think your idea is dumb, but then at the same time, if somebody tells your idea is great, use that as fuel to like motivate you, right? I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
I think.
Like
okay.
don't. I mean, obviously within reason,
no,
right? If somebody's trying to be a friend and they're like, "Hey, dude, this is just not a great idea," maybe listen to your friend, right? And be like, "Okay, maybe you're right." But if some dude who you work with is like, "Dude, that sounds really dumb. Like, why are you wasting?
Being an asshole
like,
about
yeah,
it.
why are you wasting your time?" Ignore them and shake it off, right? But
And
then on the flip side, if somebody's like, "Dude, this is super cool. Like, how can I see this?" Use that as motivation. Be like, God, some people really likes what I have to say.
Okay,
that's what I have to say.
The negative part, like Nolan, he said, "Come do something productive."
Yeah, Nolan, fuck you. Who cares?
Yeah,
dude?
fucking hater, dude. Hater. Haters are my motivators, baby.
Yeah. He said, "Go find something productive to do." Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
We're building an empire. If you just look, you're not a part of the iFlex estate, so he wouldn't understand. Yeah.
If you're not with us now, don't be with us when we blow up, Nolan. Yeah, okay.
He's not even here, bro.
Well, yeah. Now we're talking about you behind your back.
Well, that's pretty shady.
It's very shady. No, yeah, I think you made some very, very good points, and I'm glad I can kind of learn about the learned helplessness.
Yeah, and like learned helplessness, I think is. Again, yeah, there are elements in life where there are moments and aspects of life where like there are people and circumstances. I mean, shit. Think about people in Syria right now who are in a literal war zone, who don't have the money to travel, right? They are essentially kind of hostage to this regime or that regime, right? And they have to rely on the Red Cross for everything, right? They don't have any agency in their life at the time, so they're kind of that they've learned. So now, obviously not all people, but there are people in that circumstance, I'm sure, who have learned that there's nothing they can do in their life. They're just victims to whatever's happening right now.
Their subconscious is kind of like, this is ideal then, like this is my life.
Yeah, and then that's unfortunate. You wish for those people. Ideally, people are humanitarian enough to wish that they could do something to help that individual, right?
Definitely.
And sometimes it's just not enough that can be done to change it, because again, a lot of that might be a social structure, right? There's a lot of work that has to go in to change social standards and social structures and the way our world works, right? Like, I don't know if there's anything that we can do to reduce the amount of policing that goes on in a ghetto, right? Which has to do with the fact that so many minority people are arrested and put in prisons, right? Because where minorities find... Well, minorities being in ghettos, right, as the result of a lot of certain social structures, right, which results in them being targeted because they're in an area that is renowned for violence or something, right? Like, there's so many levels that happen with this idea of learned helplessness that kind of fucks up a lot of shit.
Right.
It makes it really hard. So it's like, And again, that's where privilege comes into play because we don't even have to think about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not at all. We don't have to struggle in that sense.
No.
We are very privileged and fortunate, right?
Yeah,
You know what I
very
mean?
fortunate. There's actually this story in that book about, I think it was people in Poland. Don't quote me on that. Read the book.
In Reykjavik.
Yeah, about after World War II, after you know, like wherever the hot zone was or whatever, they
Oh, Poland. I was thinking Iceland. Never mind.
Iceland is sick.
Reykjavik is, I think, the capital of Iceland. That's what I said.
Reykjavik, something like that.
Yeah, whatever.
But no, people went out and interviewed them, and they're like, "What do you think of the war? Like now, like after, like?" And of course, people are like, "Oh my god, like my life fucking sucks right now." But also, people also learned that like family time is like valuable. They learned that like, you know, family is very important.
Right. Well,
and
yeah,
stuff
people
like
come
that.
together in moments of struggle, right?
Exactly. Carter actually said some fucking shit. It seems like it's impossible to 100% dodge the idea of not caring what people think. It can be worked on, definitely, but I feel like people are conditioned that way.
For sure.
Exactly. That's the ego.
Well, not. But, I mean, yeah, for sure. There's this ego aspect too, but then we're just social animals, dude.
Yeah, that's
Where,
what
like,
we are.
our lives depend on interacting and having the acceptance of one another and stuff like that. So yeah, we're always gonna be conscious of like what our neighbor thinks and like what somebody else thinks and like what another view of us might be, you know, because again, like our survival socially, economically, you know, physically relies on the fact that people around us are either going to be there for us or appreciate us, or you know what I mean. So yeah, like it's built into us definitely. Like it's just a human characteristic to just really care what people think about us, I think. But then like Carter said, yeah, it can be worked on where like, you know, you can learn that like certain judgments aren't as important as other judgments or something like that. And then again, I think it depends on your position in life, right? Like people who are in a higher social class can afford to say I don't give a fuck, right? As opposed to people who are in a lower social class who kind of have to, you know, kind of brown nose somebody or whatever, right? To get ahead a little bit, you know what I mean? So it's like definitely your position influences that too, but like again, yeah, like you said, you can learn and work on, you know, essentially identifying which parts or which judgments or what, you know, what or who has an important perception of you versus who doesn't. Right?
And everybody has a different perspective of you. Like everybody you meet, you know, you're different to them.
For sure, yeah.
What can really help with, you know, of not caring what people think about you is really just, I say it a fucking lot, but it's true. Just living in the moment.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everything that has been in the past is set in stone forever. You know, you're not going to change it.
True.
So why nothing? You can't really think about it that way. You know, it's I like always saying the phrase, "Let the thoughts flow through your head like clouds," because that's what it is. It's just they're just going away. Like the past, you can't change anything about it. The future, you never know. Like you can't tell the fucking future unless you're Raven from That's So Raven. And have visions and shit.
True.
Which if you can, please contact us. We would love to have you on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's all about finding a balance. Exactly, that middle path.
Yeah. And I think too though is like not everybody, even incredibly powerful, like powerfully mindful people, right? You'll have moments of weakness. So it's like in those moments where you really are just succumbing to people's judgments of you, right? It's just like take stock of your life and like really focus on your achievements for one. Be like, okay, this is what I've achieved so far, right? I've done a really good job. And just kind of reaffirm the fact that you are doing good, right? But then like, you know, you find that strength and you determine again, like, you know, whose judgments do I care about, right?
That's the thing.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, I'm always going to care what my mom thinks, right? But then, like, you know, my fucking coworker, right? If I'm like, yeah, whatever, I don't care what you think of me. You know what I mean? Like, so long. Again, like in the context of a workplace, right? As long as my boss knows I'm doing a good job and looks at me and says, yeah, that's a good worker, I don't have to worry about anything. Who cares what so and so does?
That's what we were talking about earlier before we got on.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, I love life.
Yeah. Life was crazy, dude. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not ever gonna be one of those people who's like, God, I just can't wait to get to heaven. You know? I feel like I gotta listen to a lot of stupid country songs at work, dude. And so many of those songs are always like, and then this is okay. I have a bias where I think 80% of country artists are just pandering to their audience, right? And they just write music that just what the audience will like. But a lot of the lyrics have to do with like I just can't wait to get to heaven, you know. And like sure, I get part of that sentiment where it's like you want to see your loved ones and stuff like that. But the other part of it is like they're trying to get to like this promised land. But it's like, dude, life is pretty great. You know, enjoy the adventure.
Right, it's an experience, man.
Yeah.
Like in a very spiritual sense.
You know, learn from your struggles and relish in your successes. You know.
And I'll just I love being spiritual now. Like I just have so much more appreciation for everything.
Yeah.
In the sense of like life is an experience. Like go live life. Like do whatever you want. Like cause in end all be all once you die, like you're done.
Yeah.
You know, like if there's fourth dimension, if there's heaven and afterlife, whatever. Like yeah, I get it. But like me and you as Zach and Christian, like we're done after this. You know, so just go experience life, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, you die many deaths, right? You die when your body dies. You die when your name is last said. You know, I like that idea. That you know, you die a second death the last time your name is ever mentioned. You know,
I've never heard of that.
The last time somebody ever mentions you or references, you know. That's why I mean, fucking George Washington will never die, right? Well, like the idea of George Washington will never die, right? His body may have passed on and turned into dirt and shit, but like George Washington will never die, right? Same thing with, you know, a lot of celebrities and shit like that, you know. I forget where I learned that, but I mean, I don't remember where we read it from, but I heard that in David Bossman's class in high school. But
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's a really just like, I don't know, maybe it's fuel to be successful, but on the other hand, it's just like.
But it's also okay not to be successful.
Yeah, I think it's an acknowledgement of like your physical self and your spiritual self, or like, you know, Zach is both this and then also the people I love and what they think Zach is.
It's a
too,
net.
You know? It's.
Did you know I was watching this Joe Rogan podcast, and
Bro, you're watching a podcast that wasn't the Wander podcast?
I've already seen all the episodes. He was with Duncan Trussell. Love Duncan Trussell.
Yeah, bro.
Apparently, George Washington's teeth were made out of slave teeth. Like, he took his slaves, ripped their teeth out, and put them in his fucking mouth.
Where does that come from?
I don't know. That's what they said. And then they looked it up, and the mass media tried to say that he bought those teeth. But I don't believe it for a second.
I was going to say, in elementary school, we're told he had teeth of wood, and then he had ivory teeth. His dentures were ivory.
Yeah, because they're making a joke out of it for it not being the slave's teeth.
I'm sure I mean, if that's true, I'm sure they don't.
It's confirmed that it was somebody else's teeth.
Listen, all right, you find the source and post it in the Discord, bro, and then we'll get on it.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I'll definitely. I mean, you don't check the Discord ever anyway, but.
Well, I'm just saying, so we're not misinforming our audience.
Yeah. Right. So if you want to be informed about George Washington's slave teeth,
if you want to learn about slaves' teeth, bro,
go join the Discord. Tell your friends to join the Discord.
Yeah.
Tell your family members to join the Discord.
Yeah.
Tell them all to fucking follow us on Twitter.
And then we can all cancel George Washington.
George Washington?
Especially.
Where's Luke? He's the cancel master. That was really fucking loud. Luke is the cancel master, and he's not even in here today. What
He's probably planning a wedding, bro.
True.
Can't hate on him.
You can't.
Yeah, the man is just working hard.
He is, yes. He's an engaged man.
Working hard, brother.
Well, if nobody has anything else to say in the chat, Zach, would you like to say any last words?
Nah, dude.
Let's
had a good time.
Let's blow out that fucking candle. Let's talk about
Talk about sex, baby.
Let's talk about you and me. Talk about all the good things and the bad things we may be.
Wow. Let's talk about sex.
All right.
Okay. We'll see you guys later.
Yeah, see you later. We're gonna go talk about something. All right.